Do you think some of these space orbits that are coming up with Virgin and the one that Bezos is doing and the others, I know it's not the same as where you were as far as location wise, but do you think that could contribute to the greater human consciousness having a bit more perspective?
I didn't know how to answer your question when they were first designing it. Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin,
Yeah,
the two
those
companies
names.
under Sir Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
And, it's easy to be jaded and judgmental, especially when you don't know what's going on. That's the easiest time. Uh, but when I think about it, um, if someone has dreamed about it their whole life, like one of the people that flew in Blue Origin, and he went to work for NASA because that was as close as he could come. And he worked hard his whole life. He was, sort of a middle level manager at NASA and did well, but wasn't, running the whole thing or anything. But he saved his money his whole life, hoping, that someday maybe he'd have a chance. And he saved enough. And, it's about the price of a luxury car. So what do you do if you've saved your whole life? What do you do with your money? How do you reward yourself? He decided, I'm going to buy a space flight. And he went and flew with Blue Origin. And I mean, to talk to him, he's got this light in the back of his eyes and this great sense of privilege and satisfaction. But he's not just bragging about it or keeping it to himself. He's speaking in schools and he's writing about it and trying to let people see where we are in history. But I think the person that maybe expressed it the best is Bill Shatner, William Shatner, the actor. I know Bill. I don't know if you've spoken to him or not, but
mm-hmm.
I've done several things with him. And he's in his 90s, and he flew to the edge of
Yeah.
space and back. And he is as jaded and experienced and kind of confident about his own perception of the universe as any 90-year-old, especially a successful 90-year-old actor. Um, I think everybody should take 3 minutes and listen to how Bill reacted right after he landed from his short space flight. It is a torrent of human emotion and wonder and amazement and a shift of personal perspective. It was not what he expected. And in fact, now that he's thought about it for a while, he's realized just how precious and rare the world is. He sees space as death, as emptiness, as hell, as the inverse of the world itself. And it's so easy to take the world for granted when you've never seen it from any other perspective. And so I find, when you ask, is this worthwhile or not? Just sit and listen to what Bill Shatner said and what he's said since then. And that's just someone who's had just a little short
Yeah.
taster's menu view of space. And as the machines get better, more and more people will be able to understand it even better. So yeah, we need to regulate it. We can't just, it's like when cars renew or airplanes renew. We didn't have any rules and it was a big mess. But once we get it sorted out and integrated into what sustainable ops are going to be, I think it's going to be an interesting, informative, and kind of vital part of Earth awareness, human self awareness, and an opportunity maybe to rise to the next level of understanding.
While we're on Shatner, did Star Trek play any type of role in your curiosity for space or looking back on that original?
And I'm going to grab something here.
I guess I'm about to hit something here. And because I grew up on the original Star Treks. Oh yeah. I
So,
mean,
I keep memorabilia here in my office, but when I was a kid, um, I was watching first run Star Trek on television.
okay.
As each episode arrived every week, my older brother and I was just barely the right age to try and get it. But
Is it
uh,
like 69? Is that when these were out?
no, it was like 66, 67
Okay.
is when
Wow.
the original Star Trek came on.
Okay.
And it was, it was like a Western, but it was, just look at that cast, it was
Amazing.
Alien and a Russian
Yeah.
and a black woman. And, it was just such a different kind of set of assumptions. Gene Roddenberry was brilliant in the way he put it together. And, and they addressed some issues that were quite thought provoking. And so I was a little kid growing up on a farm, and this was like permission to imagine a whole different reality of the future. You know, that it doesn't have to be the way it is right now. We have other choices, we have other possibilities, and our technology is going to enable a lot of those. So it was really important to me. And also like the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey with Stanley Kubrick, based on Arthur C. Clarke's books and ideas. And when my very first space flight, Brian, on a space shuttle, if you remember the start of 2001: A Space Odyssey, they launched on like a reusable ship that went up and docked with a space station that was under construction, and there was music and there was grace and there were, people from different organizations, and it was partially commercial and partially government. That's what I did on my first space flight, just a couple decades later. So that necessity to have artistic examples and imaginations in front of us when we're young, it's absolutely vital. I mean, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, they're weird people. They're not, they're very successful. They're not just average people, or they wouldn't have done the things they've done. But both of them have also formed space companies for over 20 years that are pushing back absolutely the edge of what's possible. And both of them have done it because they were inspired by science fiction. They were inspired by Star Trek and space movies and such. And they have made it kind of a purpose of what they're doing to try and build us the capability to more safely and more simply leave our planet and start to explore everything else. And I think that fundamental idea of the importance of inspiration in life choices, and then in levels of productivity within your life, I think that's really important. And every time I've had a chance to, watch Star Trek or think about Star Trek or meet someone from Star Trek, it just, my whole body smiles, just because it was such a pivotal part of my own path and choices through life.
So I would have been maybe 7 or 8 years old, and it would have been late 70s. But I saw those on TV because they would just do the reruns. And for some reason, it was one of the things that was played quite a lot, probably because it was still really good. And I would just go through them. And my dad was a electrical engineer from Caltech, and so he kind of liked that too. So it seemed to be on all the time. But yeah, hard to overstate how that show inspired the brain to grow when you're a little kid. I mean, like you said, that just the cultural way it would just throw things into the mix. The way Roddenberry did lots of things. I think he once said he wouldn't make the monsters scary. He had a lot of principles in there that allowed the brain to expand in a different way that television hadn't seen before. And yeah.
I think also people forget just how it almost didn't happen at all.
Really?
I mean, they couldn't get funding for it. I forget one of the existing movie. I think it was, who was it? Lucille Ball or someone who actually helped provide the funding because she thought this is going to be a worthwhile thing to do. Wow. And then it was, skin of their teeth. They never had enough money, and they, just trying to do this thing. And when it was over, none of the cast and crew came away with very much money at all. I think, in fact, Bill Shatner went back to living in like a trailer, down by the river kind of thing. Wow. It wasn't like they got wealthy doing it. It was only when the impact of the ideas sort of took hold. And then they thought, well, shoot, there's enough of a following. We should maybe make a Star Trek movie. And then people started to realize, wow, this was a before its time idea. And it's going to lead into a lot of other things. And it set a whole new sort of genre and path of ideas, but it barely managed it. It was everything Roddenberry and his team could do just to even make it happen at all. And now, like a lot of things, when you look at them in the rearview mirror, they just seem like, well, of course that happened. What else would have happened? But we sort of forget just how close so many of the magnificent things in life are to never happening at all. And it takes tenacity and vision and bravery willingness to fight the odds in order to get those things done, including Star Trek.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.